This is MRN Out Loud on MRN.com, presented by Bloomin' Mondays at Outback Steakhouse. And also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
MRN Out Loud, presented by Outback Steakhouse, covering the weekend that was at Las Vegas Motor Speedway and the upcoming weekend at Richmond Raceway, round 2 or race 2 of round 1 in the playoffs. Kyle Busch was upset after the race. Martin Truex Jr. says, "Don't forget about me." He wins again. Also, Tyler Reddick wins in the Xfinity Series. That playoff field is now set. And Austin Hill wins again in the Truck Series. And it's a bad day for Thor Sport Racing. A lot to cover.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
There you go. That's exactly right.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Have you been fined before?
I have not been fined
Okay.
yet.
All right.
Marshawn Lynch was our pace car driver.
Maybe that's
so
what was
cool.
going on. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. It was a full moon Friday night, Friday the 13th, and we saw some really, really goofy things happen on Friday. Saturday, the fastest car all day long did not win the race. Perfect strategy with Tyler Reddick. And then Sunday put on a race that was really unique. We saw the Stewart-Haas cars go 1, 2, 3, 4 in qualifying. No issues in tech, which meant those cars were going to start the first 2 rows. And realistically, the garage buzz was, yes, they're fast. How are they going to race? And really the only one I thought that was consistently quick up front was Kevin Harvick, but mired back in traffic, the other cars simply couldn't compete with the better handling cars that were able to run out front. Truex started right behind us in the top 20 somewhere and was able to march his way with a really good handling car, which i.e. made it fast, and he was able to battle late in the race. Guys like Brad Keselowski, who have dominated Vegas in the past, had a really rough night. Raised the hood, it was so bad, trying to make an adjustment. He finishes third.
Yeah.
And then guys have taken their shovel out and started to dig themselves a hole a little bit.
And that's what we said last week you have to avoid. You don't have to be spectacular. You have to avoid something bad, really bad happening.
Yeah, and that's what we saw with Kurt Busch. Clearly, he's the worst candidate of it, finishing dead last. But he has enough points that he still has guys behind him. But they can't afford any more problems.
The mulligans are gone.
Yep, and they have to do a little better than the guys they're racing. They can no longer just sit back and go, okay, we're going to finish 8th.
Who's going to mess up?
Exactly.
And we can pass them.
That's
you
it.
can't do that.
And we go to another good track where Richmond, nice short track race, and then the Roval. So it's not like we have a place where everybody's going to go, I'm really good at the Roval.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we got Martin Truex Jr. talking about both of those tracks coming up later in the program. However, he didn't win in the playoffs a year ago, but he starts off this year's playoffs with a victory. Let's hear what he thought after it.
Well, I think it's huge. I think it's huge for a lot of reasons. First off, we've had a stretch of 6 or 7 races, maybe 6, that we've been really strong in, and we feel like we've had cars capable of winning, and we honestly don't have a whole lot to show for it. We had no bonus points in that stretch, and it was getting frustrating. But we knew we were really fast, and we knew we were working on the right things, and I knew the team was doing a great job. So it's kind of like for us inside of our own minds, it's kind of it's kind of indication that, hey, we were doing the right things. We are doing the right things. And, when we can get things to roll our way and not make any mistakes, this is what we can do. So great timing, obviously, with the playoffs starting to be able to do it. And, I think a lot of people have been like, hey, where's the 19 been? We don't expect them to be that strong. And we know we can. We know what we can do. So when we live up to our potential, it makes us all happy. And I know everybody that makes this happen, Coach and Johnny and Jeff and all the men and women back at the shop, they've seen this. They knew what we were capable of. So that, for me, that just feels good to be able to do the job we're here to do. And, hopefully we can carry this momentum on. Most importantly, the playoff points are huge. We got 6 tonight, and we got 2 more weeks to try to get some more with no consequences.
24th win of his career, 5th this season to lead all drivers. Martin Truex Jr. had kind of flown a little bit under the radar, even though he had 4 wins coming in. He wasn't necessarily, as he alluded to there, the talk of the town.
I chuckled at the end of the race. It was Martin Truex Jr. breaks his 10-race winless streak.
Right. And there's other guys who, like a decade.
That was the stretch. So Clint Boyer sat on the pole for the first time in 12 years, right? But Truex broke a 10-race winless streak. Those guys have been performing well at the top with the transition moving from Denver over here to the North Carolina area really flawlessly. we wouldn't expect anything different from him and Cole Pern out of Gibbs cars, which is exactly what they had last year, and they outran the guys. They were buying cars from a dealership, and they were outrunning themselves, running those guys with Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, outrunning them. That just continues. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin are now winning races, as well as the entire Joe Gibbs camp is winning races. So clearly, when we say under the radar, I have to chuckle because they're up front.
That's comparatively speaking.
Yeah, it's all relative, right?
Right.
I would love to be on a 10-race winless streak because it meant I won a race
10 ago.
10 ago. I can deal with that. But again, the race played out. Vegas put on a really good show, very wide track. Really no issues with tires, no issues with motors. There was no...
A lot of guys came in, though, talking about they were a little concerned because that track has been getting rougher over the past several races that we've seen there in terms of the asphalt surface.
Yeah, whose fault?
Asphalt.
Yep.
There you go.
So Vegas made a good move on moving the race from the early afternoon to late afternoon. From a fan standpoint, the TV coverage was fantastic. It sounds like the ratings were all up. That was a good move. It's extremely hard on guys like myself. Haven't been to bed yet. We got home a little after 4 this morning.
Yikes.
And it just makes for a very,
Happy Monday.
It's not right. It's not a long day. It's just a continuation of the
it never
day
stops.
before. Right.
Yeah, the new one has to start before it can be a long day.
Exactly right. You plan on it. You drink a lot of fluids and stay calm and stay cool. We had umbrellas on the roof. But what was interesting that I found about Vegas is that as crazy as Friday and unique as Saturday was, referencing strategy, Sunday was really just about really good cars running really good all day long. Yeah. There was nothing like, oh, that guy should have won, but he didn't. You didn't see any major pit road penalties or really people shooting themselves in the foot. A couple of on-track skirmishes slowed up to 22. Obviously, Kurt Busch got into the wall and took him out of the race. About the only surprise of the fact, and you feel bad for the 20 team, they've had a really good year. He gets stuck in second gear on a restart, and they can't get out of second. He has to go to the garage, falls several laps down, comes back out, does finish the race. But the hole has been dug for a couple of those guys, and they really, really, they have to have a couple of good weeks here at Richmond and the Roval. And the Roval is it's one of those wild card races because it's a road course.
Like a super speedway almost.
It's so tight, and then once one guy wrecks, and if you're behind, as we saw in the restart last year, a bunch of lemmings just go into the tire barriers and
let's hope we don't see that again.
Right.
That was crazy.
But you can't afford that anymore, and that's the hole that we talked a week ago about. You can't dig, and now it's not insurmountable by any means for those guys that have done bad, but like you said, the mulligans have been used up.
Yeah, Ryan Newman, 6 points out on the outside looking in. Kurt Busch, 14 back. Clint Boyer, 21 back. And Eric Jones, 26 points back. The first 4 will be eliminated after Richmond and after the Roval after we finish those next 2 races. Kevin Harvick, by the way, we haven't talked a whole lot about him. A second-place run means that if you're with us on a Monday, you can head by Outback Steakhouse. Tell them you want that free Bloomin' Onion. It is Bloomin' Monday. Kevin Harvick keeps piling up the onions for you for free. Go by Outback and tell them you catch it right here on MRN Outloud. Another break here, our first break of the afternoon actually, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about some truck and Xfinity racing, Kyle Busch's meltdown, and we'll look ahead at Richmond. Stay with us.
G'day, America. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. That's right, Outback Delivery is here. Now you can enjoy all your Outback favourites anywhere. Our signature centre-cut sirloin at home.
It's here.
Or game day party platters with Kookaburra wings that'll have both teams cheering.
It's here.
Or steak and lobster for a date night at home.
It's here.
Head over to Outback.com and place your orders because Outback Delivery is here. Outback Steakhouse. Aussie rules.
Delivery availability varies. Delivery charge may apply.
Here's your chance to win a set of your very own Hercules tires. Go to HerculesTires.com/MRN. Simply register, and each month we'll give away 1 set of tires. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading mileage coverage to get you wherever you need to go, no matter where the road takes you. Register now for your chance to win a set of Hercules tires at HerculesTires.com/MRN. Hercules Tires. Ride on our street.
It wasn't just built to be a museum. It was built to be a shrine to the history, heritage, and future of the sport we love. Visit the NASCAR Hall of Fame and see how Petty, Earnhardt, and hundreds of other NASCAR legends became heroes. Watch their most electrifying moments, experience realistic racing simulators, and much more. Plan a trip to the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte. Tickets at NASCARHall.com. NASCAR Hall of Fame. This is our sport. This is our house.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
What happened there with the 53?
52, get it right. Don't know.
How did that impact your car?
Killed it.
Happy that you were able to come back after
Nope.
your car. What happened there?
I'm just here so I don't get fined. Felt great.
Any thoughts that you're going to a place where you won last year in Richmond?
Nope, can't pass there.
Feel okay about your chances overall?
Don't care.
Does it help any at all that you had the bonus points coming in here?
Just here so I don't get fined.
Kyle Busch, post-race media scrum. And now a little context. He got down 2 laps, fought his way back, and was charging toward the front, had gotten into the top 10, and then he runs into the 52, get it right. As he said, killed his car, and afterwards he was not a happy camper. And you usually say when someone's upset, it must have been a good race.
And the team did an amazing job. They got into the wall early, cut a tire down, came to pit road, fixed it, worked on it. The car was fast. It took us all afternoon. We got down early. We were lapping down, ended up being 2 down with our strategy because we stayed out on the lead lap you end up getting 2 down by doing that strategy. Kyle was doing a very similar strategy. We almost got back on the lead lap together. He was a little bit faster working on his car. He said got back in the top 10 and
was charging.
And inexplicably, man, he run into the back of the 52.
Get it right. Yeah.
And
I don't understand. I mean,
yeah.
It wasn't like he was moving around or changing his lane, but he said he didn't go down because he couldn't follow the 24, I think he said.
Yeah.
Which was William Byron. He couldn't follow him because it, messed up the arrow or something on his car.
Yeah, God love his personality, man.
He's one of the greatest, just pure talent that we've ever seen, no doubt.
His ability to hop from series to series to series, no matter who the manufacturer is or the car owner or whatever, and dominate fields like he does. He'll go down as one of the best ever.
First ballot Hall of Famer, no question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, former champion, all that.
He has another championship in the Cup Series coming to him soon. If not this year, definitely in the near future. But when he gets mad, it's like the kid in
it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
It's the kid in the grocery store that just didn't get his cereal, man. It's
Mom
hilarious.
said, no, you can't have that.
Right. And again, love him. Marshawn Lynch was the pace car driver.
Maybe that's where I'm just here so I don't get fined came from.
I don't get fined because that's a clearly reference to him back at the NFL days when he played. But God love it, man. It's, you can tell he's mad, And,
yes, you can.
And the guys, as much as you get mad for him acting that way, the guys that work for him appreciate the enthusiasm
because they know he's not just going through the motions.
Exactly right. And so you dig deeper. It's motivational to see your driver care that much. Maybe not the way your 10-year-old would act at home because you'd scold him. But clearly enthusiastic is a word that you can use with Kyle Busch and an emotional, sometimes train wreck.
Yeah.
But golly, they had fast cars, and
he could bounce back and win 3 straight. I mean, there's that much talent and ability there, and there's that much good equipment there.
He'll go to Richmond and sit in the top 5 and run top 5 all night long and contend for another win at Richmond at a place that he just said, "Oh, you can't pass. you can't pass."
Yeah.
Well, he usually doesn't pass a lot of people because he leads a lot there at Richmond. But
now,
anyway.
he says he can't pass, but what about the way he came through the field? Because he was using the high end on one side of the track and the low end on the other side of the track, and would just coming off the high groove would just blow by guys going down the straightaway.
I saw again Vegas. I thought did a really good job with this package of cars, lower horsepower, the higher drag, and the track did open up, which allowed you to run multiple lanes. And you're really trying to cut down on that aero penalty that you get in that he mentions getting in behind a car because there's multiple grooves. Your car may not be better or better than the guy in front of you up top, but then you don't have that penalty. So it's kind of a give or take. You're going to get out of your preferred line, but you're going to get in the cleaner air, and that kind of allows you to gain momentum on the car in front of you. I saw plenty of passing. Again, Truex started outside the top 20, I believe, and obviously drove to the front, not through some snafu of strategy or nothing. It was being able to pass. Again, Brad Keselowski, who almost got a lap down to finish his third, again, so he was able to drive up to the front. So a lot of cars did a lot of passing there at Vegas, and I think that was a product of the track being able to widen out, and that package worked really good.
We still have some Xfinity racing and truck racing, Gander Outdoors Truck Series racing to talk about. But before we move on, last week a big announcement for the Wood Brothers in that Paul Menard says he's going to step out of full-time competition following this year. And Matt DiBenedetto will replace him next year. Did any of that surprise you? Did you kind of see any of that coming, or kind of out of the blue?
You know, after 16, 17 years of being around Paul and watching his kids and talking to him at the beginning of the year, I really just personally felt that I could see him going away from full-time racing.
He does have 2 young children.
So, yep. And then so I was really thinking that. He didn't mention it. Really, we didn't talk about it a whole lot, but it didn't.
He didn't go, Joey, what do you think? Or?
Yeah, no. But that part did not surprise me. I was really surprised how fast the team jumped on the DiBenedetto bandwagon post Bristol, I guess. And then
just a feel-good story from that perspective.
Absolutely.
That Paul gets to do it on his terms, and B, that everybody was thinking, my gosh, DiBenedetto is doing so well, and now he's going to be out of that ride. What's going to happen to him? And now he winds up with one of the top teams in the history of the sport.
Exactly right. And then what you have is the youthful enthusiasm with Matt hopping in a really good car with the association of the Wood Brothers and Team Penske. And I think everybody, we're sorry to see Paul go, obviously. But you look forward to 2020 and see the enthusiasm that Matt brings.
Absolutely. It's going to be something fun to watch and see how that progresses as we move forward. But we've still got some Xfinity racing and some Gander Outdoors Truck Series racing to talk about. Tyler Reddick wins and Austin Hill wins. So we'll talk about both of those next.
Some people hear air guns, but for us, it's the sound of time running out. Every millisecond counts. One wrong move and Eric Jones isn't getting his first Cup win. Get it just right? It's all part of the championship. So if you haven't just been listening, but counting the seconds, you're family now. 2018 was a great season for the Toyota Racing family. Buckle up for 2019. Follow us at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark for the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
G'day, America. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. That's right, Outback Delivery is here. Now you can enjoy all your Outback favourites anywhere. Our signature centre-cut sirloin at home.
It's here.
Or game day party platters with kookaburra wings that'll have both teams cheering.
It's here.
Or steak and lobster for a date night at home.
It's here.
Head over to Outback.com and place your orders because Outback Delivery is here. Outback Steakhouse. Aussie rules.
Delivery availability varies. Delivery charge may apply.
2 years ago, tempers flared at Martinsville.
Oh, Elliott spins, and he slams the outside retaining wall.
Last year ended in a photo finish.
Logano down to the inside. They touch. Truex goes sideways. Logano gets by.
Now it's time for what comes next. The first Data 500 returns Sunday, October 27th at Martinsville Speedway, part of the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Get tickets today at martinsvillespeedway.com or call 877-RACE-TICKS.
MRN Outloud, presented by Outback Steakhouse. And Joey, we've talked about some of the racing so far and still some more of that to go. But before we move too far along, we need to send out our condolences to the family and friends of Mike Stefanik, 61 years old. He died in a single-engine plane crash near the Connecticut-Rhode Island border. News of that came out on Sunday. One of the greatest wheel and modified tour drivers of all time. Also did really well in what is now the K&N East Series. It was the Busch North Series back in the day and was Rookie of the Year in the Truck Series back in '99. I'd forgotten about that.
Very, very versatile guy. Essentially in the modified series would have been the Dale Earnhardt. Won more championships than
9
anybody.
total championships.
And then anybody. A fantastic personality. And when you raced with Mike, you appreciated his efforts. And you didn't mind him beating you as long as you could finish second and go, I got beat by Mike Stefanik. He was that guy. Unfortunate incident. There's still obviously so many details. It sounds like it was a pilot of a single-place aircraft, possibly an ultralight style airplane that he was flying. And, God rest his soul.
More information will likely come out as the investigation continues there down the road. But condolences to the family and friends of Mike Stefanik, who tragically lost his life over the weekend in a single-engine plane crash. Now, let's talk first about the Truck Series. Stefanik, as we mentioned, was the Rookie of the Year there back in 1999, ran a full season on the schedule. But this year, Austin Hill with the championship defending champion team comes out and gets a victory at Las Vegas, and he told us that he thought that might be one of his best chances in this first round. Makes it pay off, goes to victory lane, and they look like they're moving in the right direction. It looked like no one was going to be able to stop the Brett Moffitt freight train the way he had run through the first two races. Austin Hill comes out and gets a win on a really bad night for ThorSport.
Yeah, it was, and we say a bad night for ThorSport. It was really a bad night for Ilmor Engines, who provides the spec engine for the truck series. We had a multitude of failures, and it seems like right now it's all the same exact failure. The good thing is that NASCAR will investigate and be able to move forward. The bad thing is that it took two of their teams directly out of the championship up with Johnny Sauter and Grant Enfinger, who had won.
A former champion and the regular season champion this year are now out.
And it's really not of their own doing. You know, they buy a part, as every other team does, and those parts failed, unfortunately. We had a team at Young Motorsports that we ran the 02 car with Tyler Dipple, and we were running in the top 11, top 10, and it had the same failure with the same style engine, brand new, zero mileage engine. And from what I understand, every engine at the track that failed was a zero. It was the first race it was on.
First time
so just
it was used.
Just a unique manufacturing installation issue, whatever the case may be.
Because the goal is to use those multiple times as a cost-saving measure.
We can run 1,500 miles on a spec motor, so you can run them 4, 5, 6 races based on how much you practice. And it is a cost. It's trying to be more efficient to where you can run these engines a whole lot longer, and you're only running 5 or 6 engines a year instead of 26 engines a year. But an unfortunate issue for those guys. You hate to see a team have a good season. Grant Enfinger wins the regular season, and now he's out of the championship, not really of his own doing, except for the fact that the previous races that he didn't get the win, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're looking for. That's why that win, and we talk about it here, you don't want to dig yourself the hole, because they obviously had the mulligan in the third race, but their first 2 races weren't sufficient enough to carry him through.
Johnny Sauter misses by 2 points. Grant Enfinger misses by 9 points. Moving on, Brett Moffitt wins 2 of the 3 races in round 1. Austin Hill wins the other. Ross Chastain in third. Stuart Friesen fourth. Matt Crafton also had an engine problem, but he had enough points to survive. Tyler Ankrum, the last guy to make it through as we move now on to round 2. Off week coming up for the trucks. They will not be in action at Richmond.
Not till next year. They're coming back.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be
forward.
really interesting.
Yep.
On the Xfinity side, they set their playoff field because this was the last race of the regular season for them. Defending champ plays a strategy call, rides it to victory lane, and Tyler Reddick takes victory number 1. Christopher Bell is going to be the top seed, along with Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, the top 3, as we've been talking about, the big 3 all season long. Their first playoff race comes up at Richmond. Any real surprises there to you? We talked last week that Ryan Sieg, the guy who was in the 12th and final spot, had like 100 points or something on 13th and was not really in any danger.
You know, there were no surprises that came out of the race. I still look forward to the junior motorsports guys. All 3 of their drivers are moved on to the playoffs. We're still looking for Justin Allgaier to step up and show that, hey, I have a chance to win this championship. Not that he's in the twilight of his career, but there's just so many times, there's only so many opportunities that you're going to be able to compete for a race at Homestead. And now's the time to buckle down and get that competition up and be able to compete with the top 3. We could put Austin Cindric as the 4th guy with his multitude of wins, and those guys seem to run really good. But really those 3 drivers that we talk about, the Tyler Reddicks, the Christopher Bells, and the Cole Custers, those are the 3 that we expect automatically to see in Homestead.
But we talked about what a wild card that Roval race is. Austin Cindric has been good at the road courses this year, has won 2.
Yep, and then that win will get him to the second to last round, right?
If he can get it,
exactly right. So you want to be that guy that if you know you can't go to the Roval or win, or Richmond, wherever the case may be, you want to have enough points to try to get there, and you don't want to make any mistakes to not capitalize on being able to go. And you have to get to Homestead, man. That's the case. You have to be one of those.
Survive in advance.
You have to show up to Homestead top 4 in points to be able to compete for a championship.
Well, we talk about giving away onions and tires a lot, and we got a way that folks can get a free set of tires in addition to the onions that you can get courtesy of Kevin Harvick.
The only drawback is that you have to get black tires. That's the only thing.
Can't get white walls?
No way you get white walls, but they have to be black.
Okay.
But what to do is every month we're going to give away a set of tires, Hercules tires. To do that, just go online, get on your World Wide Web, your internet, AOL, your modem.
Remember that?
Your modem dial-up.
A lot of people don't remember that.
So get on. And it's HerculesTire.com. HerculesTire.com/MRN. Simple. Put your name in. Tell them who you are. Once a month, they pull a name out of the hat. Boom, you get a free set
Could
of
be
tires.
you.
Yep.
Make sure you take
That's it.
advantage of that Hercules Tires and go by Outback Steakhouse to get a free bloomin' onion if you're watching or listening on a Monday. We've got one more segment to go here, and MRN Out Loud. We'll hear from Martin Truex Jr. again. This time, he'll look ahead to the remaining races in round 1 of the playoffs.
G'day, America. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. That's right, Outback Delivery is here. Now you can enjoy all your Outback favourites anywhere. Our signature centre cut sirloin at home.
It's here.
Or game day party platters with kookaburra wings that'll have both teams cheering.
It's here.
Or steak and lobster for a date night at home.
It's here.
Head over to Outback.com and place your orders because Outback Delivery is here. Outback Steakhouse. Aussie rules.
Delivery availability varies. Delivery charge may apply.
It wasn't just built to be a museum. It was built to be a shrine to the history, heritage, and future of the sport we love. This is our house, the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and it's packed full of classic and present-day cars, including Petty's, Earnhardt's, and Waltrip's, as well as interactive experiences, realistic racing simulators, and much more. Plan a trip to the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte. Tickets at NASCARHall.com. NASCAR Hall of Fame. This is our sport. This is our house.
For more than 80 years, Detroit Diesel has been the legendary driving force powering many of the best-known trucks on the road. Through our state-of-the-art Detroit technologies in components and safety systems, we've earned our customers' trust as a reliable business partner dedicated to improving their bottom line. It's no wonder they continue to depend on Detroit to keep them safe and efficient on the road. When you demand it all, demand Detroit.
You know, Richmond, like you said, been a great track for us. Finally broke through after leading so much there over the years. Finally broke through and got that win. And then the Roval, leading coming off basically going into the last set of corners last year and getting spun. Excited about that, and the changes coming up to the track there with the new chicane on the backstretch. I feel like that's going to really add to that race, and I feel like that'll help us be even stronger there because those types of corners I feel like we're good at. So yeah, we'll see. Feeling good about it. Got some bonus points in the bank, and hopefully we don't need them, but they're there if we do.
Martin Truex Jr. wins race 1 of the playoffs, and as he says, the next 2 shape up pretty well for him also. He won at Richmond earlier. Darn near won the Roval a year ago, and as he said, that's how you can pile up those playoff points and make it hard for the others to derail you before you get to Homestead.
Yeah, because you only have 3 races, and there's going to be four drivers. So if you have 3 separate winners, but you're the most pointed, you're automatically pushed through. We saw
the most pointed.
The most pointed. There you go. See, I'm very eloquent.
I like it. Yeah, that's good.
Very eloquent.
That's a nice one.
But what we saw 2 years ago when he won the championship is he could just coast through the playoffs.
Not that he did.
No, he
but
didn't.
He could.
He could have, but he had enough points that really it was irrelevant what anybody else did. They couldn't bump him out because, again, there's 3 races, 4 drivers. He had the most points of anybody.
Right.
So that's what he's talking about. The chicane back on the backstretch of the oval was modified to slow the drivers down and make them have a left-right.
We had that little place right at the entrance to the oval 3 where guys were clipping that coming out.
Yep. So the oval, the chicane from last year was much higher paced. It was a higher speed chicane. Now it has a sharper turn with a less violent crash area that they have going. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes because now cars going through 3 and 4 will have a little bit slower pace. If your car is handling good, you can get out of that chicane a little better and offers up another passing zone. And I think that's what Martin Truex Jr. was alluding to.
Specifically now as we move on to Richmond, what kind of things can we expect there? We've got the Xfinity race on Friday night, the Cup race on Saturday night. Both those right here on the Motor Racing Network. We'll run through the schedule in just a moment. But what are some of the things we can keep an eye out for at Richmond?
It's one of my 4 races that I tell a race fan, if they've never been, they have to go. Bristol, Richmond, Talladega, and Daytona are my bucket list races because Richmond takes you back to any kind of racing that you grew up with. It's the ultimate short track style racing. It gets very wide. The drivers are going to be complaining about being tight in the center, which means they're trying to make the car go from one direction to the next.
I've heard it described as can't pass there.
Can't pass. I'm just here so I don't get fined. And then as soon as they get tight in the center, they're trying to get on the throttle, and you want your car to drive off the corner, and it starts over again. Every 3/4 of a mile, just about at Richmond. Dennis Bickmeyer and those guys have done a great job with the new fan experience garage.
Yeah, completely renovated and upgraded. It looks fantastic.
You're walking through the garage, and literally the only thing separating you from your heroes in whatever car, manufacturer, design, color is a little chain link fence. And during that event, you can go and get your autographs, talk to your crew chief, say hello, whatever the case may be. But Richmond puts on one of the greatest short track races that I like going to, just because there's fans. You can sit wherever you want to and see the entire track. There's not like a good spot to sit in. They do make the towers up in turn 1, which are a little bit higher and gives you kind of a Goodyear blimp feel to it. But the racing there is spectacular. It's you'll see the night racing, the glow of the brakes as the cars get down there in turn 3 and turn 1 at high speeds. And really, you expect side-by-side racing, 3 or 4 lanes, specifically down there in 3 and 4. Ricky Stenhouse will be against the wall, rubbing the right corner off of that thing. So I love Richmond. I get excited when we go there. It used to be the race number 26 where we did the playoffs, and now it's the second race in the playoffs. So it has less meaning but more meaning because now the guys can race as aggressively without having to worry about not making the playoffs.
The big key, the guy who wins there both Friday and Saturday night will do what? Is it as simple as drive off of turn 4? Is that the main thing?
Well, it's not even turn 4. Turn 2 is the one because it's a sharper corner. And if you have drive off of 2, you have really good drive off of turn 4. But it's avoiding any kind of mistakes. It has a unique pit road. We enter pit road right in the center of turn 3 and 4. The blend line, and it carries you all the way around to the exit of 1. So there's a lot of pit road issues there. Pit boxes are relatively small.
Visibility can be an issue with the curve.
Yep. Again, it's just a short track. It just provides really close, tight racing action. Mistakes are amplified simply because there's so much there's not enough room to get away. One of the strategies you see at Richmond all the time is because tire fall off is amazing. You'll see guys pit 1 extra, 2 extra times, but have newer tires and be able to lap the entire field.
Can make up that time.
So strategy really, really plays a big portion of it. When you're going to pit, how good your tires are, how many cars you can pass before the next guy puts his tires on, and then he's coming after you. So the strategy there is really cool. It's just a great racetrack.
All right. That's about all the time we've got on this edition of MRN Out Loud. A big week coming up here on the Motor Racing Network. Don't forget, every Tuesday night, NASCAR Live with Mike Bagley, your host, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, and a busy, busy Friday here on the Motor Racing Network. We kick it off Friday at Richmond with practice for the Federated Auto Parts 400. That's 11:30 Eastern Time. Another practice Friday at 1:30 Eastern Time. Then qualifying at 6 o'clock Eastern Time on Friday, followed by the Xfinity Series playoff opener, the Go Bowling 250, 7 o'clock Friday night on the Motor Racing Network. And then Saturday night, the main event, the Federated Auto Parts 400, 6:30 Eastern Time Saturday night. Make sure you're with us. I'm Woody. That's Joey. We'll see you right back here next week.